Hi, this is Anil and welcome to the video tutorial for the Learning Lad on C++ programming. So in this tutorial, we're going to learn how to pass an array to a function. So first we're going to write our function, which is going to receive an array as a parameter. And for the demonstration purpose, we're going to write a function which is not going to return any values. So it's going to be void. And then the function name, let's call it as show. And this show function is going to take two parameters. So the first parameter is going to be the array. This array is going to be of type integers, so it's going to be int, and let's call it as numbers, and a pair of square brackets, and we don't need to specify any size here. And then we're going to create another variable which is going to contain the number of elements of the passed array, whatever the array will be passed to this numbers variable. Let's call it as length. Alright, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to print out the elements of the array which is passed to this show function. So I'm going to write a for loop, and I'm going to create and initialize the loop counter. So let's call it as counter, and let's initialize this one to 0, because the array index starts from 0, and then counter is less than the length, not less than or equal to, because the last element will be present at the length minus 1, and then we need to increment our counter, so it's going to be counter plus plus. And this for loop is going to print out the elements, so it's going to be a cout statement, and we're going to say numbers and counter. Alright, so now we're gonna do the function prototyping. So our function is not gonna return any values, it's gonna be void, the name of the function show, and this function is gonna take an integer array, so it's gonna be int and the square brackets, pair of square brackets, and we don't need to specify any variable. If you guys want, you guys can do that, but that's not needed. And then another integer value. Alright, now in our main function, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create an integer array, and let's call it as numbers, and it's gonna be an array, so we're gonna initialize that right here, and let's say it's gonna be 25, 44, 66, 98, 754. That's it. And we need another variable, and let me call it as length, which contain the length of this array. So here we have 1 2 3 4 5 elements, so it's going to be 5. And then we need to call our show function, so it's going to be void show, and we need to pass our numbers array, so it's going to be numbers and the length. So here, don't get confused with the variable names, the numbers in this main function and also the same name in this show function, because all these variables are local, so they are not accessible or available outside these functions. So there will not be any name clash or any errors. So I'm gonna save this one, and I'm gonna build and run this. Okay, we have an error. So I'm gonna go to view logs, unused variable numbers, and numbers was not declared. Alright guys, when you write programs, don't make any spelling mistakes. I'm gonna save this one right now, and I'm gonna build and run this, and again we have the error. Alright, we don't need to write this void here. I'm gonna remove that. I don't know what the heck happened to me. I'm gonna build and run this again, and we have, alright, we need to add a end line just to make it pretty. Okay, I'm gonna build and run again. So 25, 44, 66, 98, and 754 are the elements which are printed by this show function after receiving an array as the parameter. So this is it guys, this is how you guys can pass an array to a function. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like my Facebook page at facebook.com/learninglad, and stay tuned for my next video tutorials. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, see you in the next tutorial.